Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Tiernan McCarthy Kenny, and I apologize. It's been a little all over the place the past 2 weeks. Last week, I thought I had my pistol permit safety class, and it turned out it was actually this week. So I prepared last week for no reason. Happened, whatever. It was great. And then this past week, I then realized obviously it was this weekend that we just passed. Today is March 25th on a Monday. And then I put out that episode with Justin, my good old pal, on Friday, right? I think Friday. And then, of course, my software completely messes up. I think I got one good clip out of that. But other than that, and even in the video that I uploaded on Spotify and YouTube, the audio and the visuals wouldn't match. So it was a little messed up. It was a little kooky. I was upset. I was actually pretty pissed off because I thought it was a really good episode actually. And I thought I asked some pretty good questions off the top of my head about his college career so far, stuff like that. And then I thought there were some great NBA takes and questions and stuff. So I thought it would have been good content. But sometimes life got to slap you on the wrist. So that's how it went. Then I had a very busy weekend, so it was probably gonna be hard to put out content anyway. I mean, I would have prepared for it, I would have done it if I could, but I just couldn't match up the audio and the visuals. And then this weekend I had my class, which was good. It was super fun. Kind of crazy in New York how many regulations and stuff like that there are if you have even a carry concealed permit, gun permit. It's pretty nuts. You basically can't take it anywhere, and you basically can't use it unless you're going to the range or hunting. In personal defense, you basically can't use it. So it was a little frustrating, but it was super fun. Passed my written test and my live fire training, which was super cool. I believe we shot, I think it was Glock 19s. I forget, but it was fun. It was super fun. I was happy about that. But we are back. And I wanted to get something out somewhat on time. Obviously, it's not the usual time because this episode would have already been out like 10 hours ago, 12 hours ago. So I said, fuck it. Let's just do one real quick. It's probably going to be a short episode. I think the layout that I'm thinking is just gonna be kind of a lightning question round a bit. There's some topics that I thought I talk about, but there's not too much going on. It's like the weird part of in the weird middle of the UFC. There's two UFC fight nights. We're gonna talk about one fight, kind of one person really from this last card this weekend, and then there's another one coming up. I believe it's this weekend, if not the next, with Holly Holmes main card or main event, and then UFC 300. So we're kind of in that weird middle zone. And then NBA is kind of winding down a bit. Like we're getting to that point where we're starting to get closer to playoffs. We're going to talk some NBA and really the major talk of the town at the moment. And then that's about it. We're going to get into some UFC and some NBA, I believe. So just a couple things. So first I want to start out with the Ant and MJ comparison. I thought this was all in good fun. I didn't think anybody was really going to have a problem with it, but I've been seeing some people having a problem with it. And I was a little surprised by that because nobody's really saying that. It's not like saying Ant is at that level or will be better than MJ. It's just stylistically, he kind of looks like MJ. And then even just genetically, like his body kind of moves a similar way. I think there was one time he had the same sort of accessories. He had like the one patch by his elbow. It just like looks like him. And then these crafty dunks, some of his little funny jumpers, like super athletic. He kind of does look like a young MJ and literally looks like a young MJ. Doesn't mean that that's his ceiling. I don't know how else to say that. I thought it was interesting though, like coming back, looking at both of them at their age. MJ, 22, second year in the league, averaging at his age, he got hurt. He only played 18 games. But year prior, his rookie year, he averaged 28 in his rookie year, which is nuts. And then his third year, coming back off an injury, only playing 18 games, he averaged 37. Led the league with 37 points. And led the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So he led the league in points 7 years in a row. 1 year didn't get it because, again, he got hurt. And then an additional 3 years until he retired. So the entire time he played in the NBA prior to his second retirement, before 98, he literally only 3 years he didn't win the scoring title. And 2 of those years he was hurt and didn't play more than 18 games. That's insane. I didn't know that. And most of those years, he actually played 82 games. So, I mean, that's just insane. You can't even imagine that now. So, obviously, he's not on that level yet. And let's see. Currently, it's third year. He's currently averaging 26 a game, 5 assists, 5 boards. So, not bad at all. Playing 68 games. Not bad at all. Rookie year. One rookie of the year, 19 a game. Then, it's actually his 4th year. Wow. I forgot he was a 2020, 2021. I forgot. So 19, 21, then 24, and then now 26. So obviously he's not on the same scoring level. He's not there. We know he's not there. No reason to freak out. I think people are getting misconstrued where he looks like MJ. His style is kind of like an MJ. He has that tenacity like MJ. He's got that dog like MJ. He's got the irrational confidence like MJ. So there's a ton of similarities. Does not mean we're saying that he's going to be MJ or is MJ. Okay. Next, McGregor announced that him and Chandler are all systems to go. Dana actually too on the 4-pound, or was it 4-pound? Pound 4 or something like that podcast, Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman's podcast, Dana White also said that during that week that McGregor was going to be good. They're all systems to go, like I said, for Chandler. So we're probably going to be looking at that fight in June, which is going to be super fun. Even if the card's bad, everybody's still going to watch it. It's still going to be a major card. Definitely excited about that. There's been some weird buzz over the weekend as well with everybody thinks this guy's on coke. And I can understand with the little clips because obviously Roadhouse just came out. He's doing all these interviews for it. And there are certain clips. I think there was one specifically on the red carpet. And there was one with just an interview with Jake Gyllenhaal. And he looks weird. He's a fidgeting guy. He talks super fast. That's it. Obviously, I get it. It does kind of look like that. But if you watch consecutive interviews, there are a million interviews. If you watch them over and over, different ones, he's not doing that in all of them at all. Most of them he's actually not, and it's just these little clips that he's actually kind of looking like a fiend. I think this is a little much. I would pretty much disregard it. And again with the steroid thing too, we talked about it before, and I was pretty heavily under the impression that he was on steroids. And that is because, and I actually did an episode on this, I think it was episode 34. I thought he was like 220. I thought he was like 220 pounds. And it turns out he's probably like 40 pounds less than that at that peak. He was really like 185 pounds. That's not that crazy at all. It's one of those things where fighting especially is you're doing so much high-intensity cardio, you're most likely going to burn muscle as well. So a lot of these guys kind of look caked up, except Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler is like really, obviously there are certain guys that look shredded, lean, ripped. Michael Chandler is the pinnacle of that. It's not like McGregor didn't have a good physique, but when you get hurt and all you can do is lift, and you lift a ton, and you eat a ton, and you put on weight, what do you expect? Now everybody's going to look like Paddy Pimblett, So I'm actually not surprised at all, and I don't think he's on gear. 185 pounds is not that crazy, especially for somebody at his stature. I thought he was like 220, 230. And I'm like, okay, you can't gain like 40 pounds, 50 pounds super quick like that without gear, really. Unless you did a massive dirty book. You wouldn't be looking that lean, is my point. So I actually don't think he's on steroids at all. And if you looked at some of his new interviews, he does not look like he's on steroids at all. He's actually looking a bit skinnier. And of course, you can make the argument, well, he could have cycled off. Whatever. I don't think he was on it to begin with. I still don't think he's on it. And I think the fucking him on drug shit is ridiculous. I mean, I understand if it was to, like, if he's on coke, whatever, he's doing lines before all this stuff because he's working up to 18-hour days, movies, promos, training, all that different stuff. I 100% understood that. I'd get why he would do that. Obviously, I'm not condoning it, saying it's a good idea. But I also just don't think he'd be the type of guy to do that. I mean, he trains well. He eats well. He takes care of his body. He's talked about that extensively. I just don't think he would do that. I think the clips are misleading. And I think we're going to see a good performance from McGregor. So I'm really excited about that. Are we taking the Rockets serious? Okay, when I said this was the buzz of the town, the talk of the town, this is what I'm talking about. Everyone now thinks that the Rockets are a thing. And I used to talk about them a ton at the beginning of the year because they're enjoyable to watch. They're a good young team who just added two pretty good assets. Well, I don't know if they're really good assets because I don't think a lot of teams are going to want. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know how I feel about that. Fred VanVleet and Brooks. It was a good pickup for them, I thought. Added those guys. Got some young dudes that are coming up. Obviously, Sengun popped off this year, and then now Jalen Green's having his little run. Slow your roll. Let's slow the roll, please. They're on a winning streak right now. Let me read off the teams that they've beaten consecutively. Okay. First win, Portland Trail Blazers, Kings, Spurs, Wizards, Cavs, Wizards, Bulls, Jazz, and then they got the Blazers again tonight. So they're most likely going to beat them, and that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that would be 9 total wins if they beat the Blazers tonight in a row. Obviously, Jalen Green had a few 40-point games. I think 2 40-point games in that, maybe one or two high 30s. Let's relax, please. Okay. Everyone's freaking out too, especially with Jalen Green's shooting numbers in the past couple of months. If he's past like month or so, shooting over 40% from three. Let's not forget, man, this is what he's averaging for the year. 19, 5, 3, 42 from the field, and 33 from three, and 80 from behind the free throw line. Not really that crazy. Not a guard that you're gonna pass up or you're gonna deny Mikal Bridges for. Really, if that's true, you're really gonna keep Jalen Green instead of Mikal Bridges. If you're talking about someone who's doing drugs, that guy's doing drugs. That's insane. This guy has had some good games in the past 9-8 game stretch, but against shit teams. Let's not forget Trailblazers. Kings are good. Kings are like a middle of the road team. Spurs, the Wizards, Cavs are good, but they're also missing Mitchell. Wizards, Bulls, Jazz again, and then Trailblazers tonight. These are not great teams. Let's relax. And yes, they're missing Sengun and doing good. They're playing shit teams. That doesn't mean they're better without Sengun. That does not mean Bill Simmons to trade Sengun and keep Jalen Green. Are you fucking crazy? Are you crazy? And let's even look at their games. Jalen Green, super athletic, shifty, can dunk on anybody, but doesn't do it that often. Super shifty, acrobatic, high flyer, fantastic. Somewhat of a jumper, super streaky jumper. Not a great decision maker down the stretch. Pretty much before this streak, he was not closing games with them. And then you got Sengun. That's his nickname is Discount Jokic, Baby Jokic, and he's been your leader the entire year, putting up triple doubles, He had also 40-point games. His game is so much more rare. This is why Jokic is already put up in the top 5 center conversation already, because his game is so rare. It's an unathletic big that can throw a football past the length of the court, alley-oop, and it be good. This guy has more of an offensive impact than probably anybody in the league, maybe even ever. He's actually, I think, maybe besides Wilt, I think Wilt is the only guy who has more of a proficient score than he does in terms of efficiency. He's literally the most efficient guy, I think top 2 ever. And that's not even getting into what basketball was like when Wilt was there. So this is a guy who has basically a discount version of his game of a Jokic. He can shoot, he can score, he can distribute, and he's fine on defense. Not anything crazy, but it's really the distributing back to the basket, post moves, and the court vision like no other. So you're talking about another unicorn that has modeled his game after and looks similar than a multiple-time MVP and probably a third-time MVP after this year, NBA champion. And then we're all bringing up takes of keeping a guy that we almost wrote off 2 weeks ago, a year ago. Okay? He's not been up to expectations at all. So let's relax. He's only averaged 20. He's third year in the league. Average rookie year, 17, 2 assists, 3 boards, 42% from the field, and 34 from 3. And it's got worse almost every single year. He got 22 points last year. Fine. 3 assists, 3 boards. That's fine. But then his field goal percentage dropped down 41%. And then same thing with his 3, 33%. And then this year so far, it's 33% and 42 from the field. So kind of abysmal. Not really making shit. He's averaging 6 for 16. Then 7 for 17 last year, and then 6 for 14 the year before. Okay, from the field. That doesn't seem like somebody I'd want to build my team around. Yes, he shows flashes. There are a million guys in the league that shows flashes. That doesn't mean, if this is true, rejecting a Mikal Bridges offer. Okay? This doesn't mean, all right, Segun's out. We're better for 8 games against shit teams. Let's go trade him and keep Jalen Green. That's insane. That's insanity. That's literally insanity. Boggles my mind. Houston's good. They're a good up-and-coming team. I think they have a great coach, and I think they have a future. They really do have a great, solid, all-around team. Their bench is good, too. This isn't their year. This next year is not going to be their year. We'll talk in 3 to 5 years, okay? They need time. Let's relax. Dustin versus Islam heating up. This has actually been pretty fun to watch over social media a bit. I'm not on there too much, but they're just trading shots. Over and over, just trading shots about the belt. Dustin saying he wants him, and then Islam's kind of just been mocking him, and it's just been heating up. I think this is what you have to do. I mean, based on, obviously, Dustin's, not leaving out Dustin's entire career, right? And his status in the UFC, absolute legend, all of that. And then kind of the same thing with Islam. Islam's still a newcomer a bit. But after his last win, I think that resonated with a lot of people. Obviously, everybody's a Dustin fan. And then Dana praising him after that fight. Joe Rogan praising him after that fight. I think he's going to get what he wants. Islam even said his first choice isn't Dustin. And everybody seems like they're busy. So that's probably what's going to happen. I think it works out. I think it's going to be such a fun fight. And we'll see. It's going to be super interesting because obviously Dustin has such a good stand-up game. He can grapple, but he has such a good stand-up game. Islam has such a good grappling game, but he also can stand up. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be, I don't know if it goes 5 rounds. I don't think it goes 5 rounds. I can't wait for that fight. MVP versus Ian Gary. This one also has been heating up a bit. Obviously, there's been tons and tons and tons of videos with Ian versus Kobe. But I think, I'm not saying I don't think that fight's going to happen, because I think in terms of entertainment value, everybody would want to see that. But I think in terms of the best matchup, and this obviously isn't my idea, I didn't just come up with this, but I agree with it. I think Michael Venom Page versus Ian Machado Gary would be exquisite. I think 2 high-level strikers like that would be amazing. Obviously, MVP just had a great debut, toyed with Kevin Holland, who's a big-time name. And, I mean, a little streaky, but a big-time name. And Ian Gary's still on his 7-0 run. And I think that would be an amazing, amazing story, right? Because if MVP wins, he just took down one of the baddest people in the division, right? That's his second career fight in the UFC. Huge win. Huge win. And then pretty much he probably could get a title shot. Then Ian Machado Gary takes down MVP. That's, I mean, one of the most skilled strikers in the game. Like, in the game. So, takes him down. That's a big fight, even though he's only had one fight in the UFC. That he probably would get a title shot after that. So, I mean, especially with Kobe too. I just think it would be better. I think it actually would be more entertaining, even if there's less shit talk. Obviously, MVP doesn't really handle himself that way, and Ian Machado Gary doesn't really handle himself. I mean, he shit talks, but it doesn't get to a point like a Kobe. You know, if he doesn't have problems with a guy like that, you know. So MVP is pretty respectful and stuff like that. So I don't think it would be as blown out, obviously, as a Kobe or a Strickland or something like that. But I still think it would be probably more entertaining because they're 2 high-level strikers, while Kobe, on the other hand, is more of a wrestler. I mean, he can get down and dirty, but he's a wrestler at heart. And obviously, it's a stylistic difference between the two. So I think MVP and Ian would fit perfectly, and I actually think that's probably the more likely fight. I've been wrong about DeRozan. I was wrong from the jump, okay? Everybody can shit talk me, whatever they want to say, whatever they want to say. I'm glad I'm wrong. I'm glad I'm wrong, because he's been doing my Bulls a great favor. Currently averaging 23 a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 47 from the field, 33 from 3, 86 from free throw line. Fine. Obviously not amazing shooting numbers, but he's leading the league in minutes, right? That's insane. He's 34. I was counting him out. I've been counting him out almost every single year. Obviously, he's still got time in him. Hopefully, he stays with Chicago. I mean, I don't know whether to hope for that or not, because I just hope they don't let him slip away. If anything, trade him. But DeMar DeRozan, I love you. You've been playing fantastic. I was just nervous. In the beginning of the year, I was just nervous. I didn't love what I was seeing. Zach LaVine was obviously there, though. And since that guy left, we've been doing a lot better. So I guess I'm happy for it. I don't know how to feel about that. Lonzo's going to come back next year. The rumors. Kobe White's playing out his mind. He's obviously cooled down, but he's still playing at a high level. I'm a little confused on the Dalen Terry minutes. Don't totally know what's going on there. Definitely seems like he stepped it up a level. He's playing better. I think the only rationale I could have is he's a young guy and they're just giving him some minutes because they know they're not really going to go anywhere. But I don't know. I mean, I like Javon Carter. I feel like he should get some minutes. He's kind of been benched a lot of games. Their bench is just a little weird. And the starting lineup keeps changing all the time. And it's a little frustrating, a little confusing, and I wish it was a little more consistent. They probably still should blow it up unless they really get somebody good back. But it's hard because there's not really a market for LaVine. I think they would have traded him if they could. And it doesn't seem like they could have. So hopefully somebody's a buyer. Hopefully we get somebody. We can re-sign DeRozan, get somebody better. A lot of hate on Vooch. I'm not completely against it, but not to the extent that I see, for sure. I don't think he's an abomination at all. I think he's a lot better than a lot of the centers you would get. I mean, it would be interesting if you had a deal with Vooch and Levine and then just move Drummond up to the starting five, and got somebody else. That would be interesting. I could get down with that, and then just have a backup big. But I mean, like, how many better bigs are there gonna be? You know, if it's not Vooch, what other high level bigs are you really getting? There's really not that many, and I don't think there's that many that are better than him. So I don't get that a ton, but I would love to see Levine out of here. I guess maybe Vooch out of here. Keep DeRozan, Kobe, move Drummond up, and get another guy. I mean, you can get another low block guy around the rim if you want. Maybe a good 4-3. Move DeRozan up to the 2. Maybe get a 4, because then if you have Caruso in there. But Caruso can also be a really good 6-man. I don't know. It'd be an interesting offseason. I'm hopefully excited. I'm excited to see what they're going to do, but I hope they're not the Cowboys and they just sit on their ass. Or re-sign. The equivalent to the Cowboys would be if they just gave Levine an extension instead and then just literally didn't make any moves. Peyton Tobin. This is the fighter I'm talking about from this past UFC fight night. He's been put on blast after this performance. TKO, second round TKO against a tough guy who trains with DDP. I like him. I didn't get to see the fight. Obviously, I had my class that was, I think, 9 hours each day, and then I was studying my butt off Saturday night, which was obviously the pay-per-view. But I saw some highlights. I watched about 4 or 5 interviews with him. Still need to watch the Ariel one because I believe that came out today. Super likable. What I'm going to say, I think he's talented. I think he's getting gassed a bit. People are already calling him a UFC superstar. Like, that's a stretch. What really turned me on to him is people are now comparing him to Sugar a bit just because he's undefeated. And he's a gifted striker, but he really has a grappling background. He's somebody that likes to stand up and bang. He's a dog. I like that a lot. But he doesn't bark. He's not like a Kobe. He's super calm. He's super composed, super poised. He's pretty articulate. And what's interesting is his style. I think he's the first UFC fighter who is a bit emo-ish and like femboy a bit. If you look at his Instagram, like, he wears some feminine clothing and things like that. Nothing to the point where you're like, okay, is this guy a they, them or something? Or trans, whatever. He's not like that. But he will wear like crop tops with see-through crop tops. Some of you are probably like, what are you talking about? That sounds like a they, them. But he's not. And he dresses a bit feminine. He also has the nail polish, which I like a lot too. I haven't done it in a while, but I thought it was interesting. He brings in a different demographic. I could 100% see him bring in a lot of those kind of people, a lot of those younger kids mostly, to the UFC. A whole new viewership that I don't think they really accessed much. So I thought that side was super interesting. I liked him in that sense. All his interviews are great. Like I said, articulate. He's smart, level-headed. He's calm. He's poised. And he performs well. I mean, typically, he knocks people on their ass. But then he also has a wrestling background, so he can grapple if you want to. So I definitely think he's up and coming. This was a big fight for him, a big win. I think the next one's going to be even more important. And then I think he's going to fight some real high-level ranked guys. For sure. So we'll see. He actually doesn't even like the Sugar comparison at all. He said it drives him crazy, and he hopes one day he can fight him. And I kind of agree. I don't really get the comparison other than that their upbringing is a bit similar in terms of just being undefeated, gifted strikers as well, knocking people on their butt. Other than that, I don't totally get it. His game doesn't remind me much of Sugar. There's not a lot of feints. There's not a lot of head movement. So I don't know. But great personality. I like him. I think he brings in a different demographic. And he's a skilled fighter. And I'm excited to watch him. All right, this one bothered the shit out of me. I saw a clip of this the other day, I think on Twitter, and this was, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Kendrick Perkins. Somebody I think we all think should get fired from ESPN. He said specifically that he would take Brunson over any guard in the league. Said he's not taking anybody over Brunson. And specifically said Steph Curry and SGA. Curry not having as great of a season. Ton of internal issues. Obviously, Wiggins left for an extended period like he did last year. Draymond got suspended. There's the whole stuff with Draymond even prior to that. So many things. Clay not really playing to the level we were hoping. Now coming off the bench. CP3 getting injured. Gary Payton Jr. getting injured, or the second, whatever it is, injured. They've had a ton of, and then himself getting injured and just coming back. A lot of things in the road there. Not a great season. He hasn't really been performing well the past couple weeks. Is what it is. So, okay, I can get that. Brunson's definitely outperforming him, leading his team better than Curry is on the court. But SGA, you have to be out of your fucking mind. And then to not bring up Luka, the only way you don't bring up Luka is if you don't conform to the Luka as a guard. I can understand that to a degree. He's more of a point forward. But the SGA is absolutely insane. This guy has led his team. He's been in and out of the first seed in the West. He's second in MVP voting. And he's had several consecutive 30-point games. He's played more games than him in a season, 69 versus 65. He's averaging 30 a game. Brunson's averaging 27. He's averaging 5.6 rebounds a game. Brunson's averaging 3.6. This is where Brunson gets him. Assists by 0.2. Shea is averaging 6.3 and Brunson 6.5. Okay, steals. Shea's one of the league leaders in steals, 2.1 to Brunson's 0.9. Then Shea, 0.9 blocks, 0.2 blocks for Brunson. Better field goal percentage, considerably. 54% versus 47.5%. 3-point percentage is another thing Brunson's got him on. The only other thing Brunson's got him on. 3-point percentage, 40%. Shea's 36. Okay, I'll give you that. Free throw percentage, 87 versus 84. And then effective field goal percentage, 57 versus 54. Not that crazy. Come on, man. This is not even a crazy take. And you don't even want to look at the difference if you're comparing Brunson to Luka. But if we're talking about it, we might as well do it. So let's see here. Luka Doncic. Compare. He's gonna wipe the floor with him. It's like ridiculous. What kind of take is this? Why did they just give me LeBron James? What is going on? I typed in Luka Doncic, and they gave me LeBron James. They gave me LeBron James again. Okay, it's not working. Whatever. I'm not even going to go in. You'd know. It would be an absolute landslide. Luka, too, up there for MVP. It's like, where do you get these takes from, and why are you employed? This is ridiculous. Brunson's playing fantastic. He's leading his team fantastic. Way better than I thought he was going to. I was very vocal about not liking the Knicks taking that shot on him after 1 or half a year of him doing great in Dallas. And I was wrong. He's been fantastic. He's been everything I thought he was going to be. And I like the Knicks. I like their team. But don't sit here and tell me that the number 2 guy in MVP voting or the number 3 guy in MVP voting, if Embiid had the amount of games, is not better than Brunson, and you wouldn't take him over Brunson. Just always these insane takes for people like me to get mad about. And it's just frustrating. It's frustrating. I don't get it. Oh, last thing. I was about to be out. That was all I've written down. But last one, super quick. Sugar Sean O'Malley. Tim came out of the pod. He said on there that Murab got his wish. That fight is all set and that fight is going to happen. There hasn't been an official announcement yet. Hoping it's going to be this year. Sugar said something about 2025 that kind of threw people off. I think it'll be this year, towards the end of the year. Tim said September, October, November. That's what they'd be okay with. Similar time that Ilya would be fighting as well. There'd be a lot of good fights actually at the end of the year there. I think McGregor even talked about maybe even swinging another fight after that. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But didn't give a date. He didn't say anything like that. But he also said all systems are a go. That could be happening. So we kind of knew it, but it's nice to at least get it confirmed. Now we just got to wait for the announcement. All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the episode. It was a quick one, like I said. All platforms. You know what it is. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.